Everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Physics Se Dosti. I am your own Shilpi ma'am, and today in this video I will discuss parallel combination of resistors of chapter Effects of Current of class 10 Physics. So let's start. In the parallel combination of resistors, one end of each resistor is connected at one point and the other end of each resistor is connected at the other point. What does it mean? It means the resistors, all the one end of each resistor is connected to one point. हम लोग resistor के एक एंड को हम लोग एक वन पॉइंट पे कनेक्ट करते हैं और उसी रेजिस्टर के दूसरे एंड को हम लोग दूसरे पॉइंट पे कनेक्ट करते हैं. लेट्स सी हाउ चिल्ड्रन. सपोज चिल्ड्रन इन दिस प्लेस R1, R2 and R3 are three resistors. You can see this place R1, this is R1, this is R2 and this one is R3. Three resistors. Now, suppose we have to connect it in parallel combination. What we will do? We will connect all the points in the left end. Suppose this R1, R2 and R3. This is left end of these three resistors. We will connect these to one point like this. Suppose this point is point A. Similarly, the right end of all these three resistors we can connect to another point. Suppose this point is P. So, this is the way we can connect the resistors, and this is known as parallel combination of resistors, in which one end of all the three resistors are connected to one point and the other end of all the three resistors are connected to other point. Now, next, what we do, the battery along with a key K is then connected in between the points A and B. You can see this place, this point is A, this point is B, and these three resistors R1, R2 and R3 are connected to a battery through a key K. Now, this is known as parallel combination of resistors. Now, this place, you can observe one more thing, children, that the current I, you can see current I divides itself in three parts in the separate branches of the parallel combination of these three resistors, I1, I2 and I3. You can see this current I is divided in three parts, I1, I2 and I3, in the separate branches of the resistors R1, R2 and R3. So what does it mean? It means that the main current I from the battery divides itself in different arms at the point A. And the current in a resistor is inversely proportional to its resistance. What does it mean? First of all, children, what is resistance? Resistance means the obstruction offered to the flow of current. So, if there will be low resistance, it will allow more current. And if there is high resistance, it will allow less current. What does it mean? It means that the current is inversely proportional to resistance. अगर resistance ज़्यादा है तो current कम फ्लो करेगा. क्यों? क्योंकि ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन ज़्यादा है. रेजिस्टेंस क्या है? ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन ऑफर्ड टू द फ्लो ऑफ करंट. अगर रेजिस्टेंस ज़्यादा है तो कम करंट फ्लो करेगा. एंड इफ रेजिस्टेंस इज लेस, more current will flow through the circuit. So this means that the current and the resistance are inversely proportional to each other. That means low resistance allows more current and high resistance allows less current. One more important point related to parallel combination of resistors is that the potential difference across each resistor is same. That means the potential difference across resistor R1 is also V, across resistor R2 is also V, and across resistor R3 is also V. And this potential difference is equal to the potential difference across the terminals of the battery. So these are two important points related to parallel combination of resistors which you should always keep in your mind. So children, let's discuss the two important points. The potential difference across each resistor is same, which is equal to the potential difference across the terminals of the battery. पहला important point क्या है कि जितने भी रेजिस्टर्स हैं पैरेलल कम्बिनेशन में उनके अक्रॉस जो पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस होगा वो सेम होगा और वो किसके बराबर होगा? दैट इज इक्वल टू द पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस अक्रॉस द टर्मिनल्स ऑफ द बैटरी. टर्मिनल्स ऑफ द बैटरी के वो इक्वल होता है पैरेलल कम्बिनेशन ऑफ रेजिस्टर्स में. सेकेंड पॉइंट, the main current I from the battery divides itself in different arms at the point A, and the low resistance allows more current and the high resistance allows लेस करंट. सो पैरेलल कम्बिनेशन में क्या होता है कि जो मेन करंट आई है जो बैटरी से निकल रहा है वो जो डिफरेंट आर्म्स है उसमें वो डिवाइड हो जाता है और उसमें डिवाइड होने का क्या है रूल कि जो लो रेजिस्टेंस आर्म है उसमें मोर करंट जाएगा, ज़्यादा करंट जाएगा. वाई? बिकॉज करंट इज इन्वर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल टू रेजिस्टेंस. सो अगर लेस रेजिस्टेंस है तो मोर करंट होगा एंड इफ इट इज हाई रेजिस्टेंस then in that case less current will flow in the circuit. So this way these are two important points of parallel combination of resistors. Current in a resistor is inversely proportional to its resistance. Also, the sum of currents in the separate branches of the parallel circuit is equal to the current I drawn from the source. जो सोर्स से जो बैटरी से जो करंट आई निकल रहा है वो किसके बराबर होता है? वो I1 जो I1 क्या है? रेजिस्टेंस R1 के अक्रॉस जो करंट है दैट इज I1 प्लस रेजिस्टेंस R2 के अक्रॉस जो करंट है वो I2 है और रेजिस्टेंस R3 के अक्रॉस जो करंट है दैट इज I3. सो the sum of currents in the separate branches जो पैरेलल सर्किट के सेपरेट ब्रांचेस में जो करंट्स है उनको अगर हम लोग सम करेंगे तो वो किसके बराबर होगा? जो मेन करंट आई है उसके बराबर होगा. सो दीज आर इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स ऑफ द पैरेलल कम्बिनेशन ऑफ resistors. Now let's discuss the expression for the equivalent resistance. Agar we are discussing the parallel combination of resistors, so how we will find out the equivalent resistance? Suppose I1, I2 and I3 be the currents through the resistances R1, R2 and R3. 3 रेजिस्टर्स हैं जिनका रेजिस्टेंस R1 है, R2 है एंड R3 है और उन 3 रेजिस्टेंस में करंट जो फ्लो हो रहा है वो I1 है, I2 है एंड I3 है. सो इन दैट केस वी नो that the total current that is drawn from the battery will be equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3 that we discussed right now, just now. सो जो टोटल करंट है वो I1 प्लस I2 प्लस I3 के बराबर होगा, ये हम लोग जानते हैं. और वो रेजिस्टेंस कौन कौन से हैं? R1, R2 एंड R3. सो नेक्स्ट, इफ पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस बिटवीन द टू ends A and B इज V, अगर जो दो पॉइंट्स हैं A और B उनके अक्रॉस जो पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस है वो अगर V है, देन और सपोज जो इक्विवेलेंट रेजिस्टेंस है कम्बिनेशन का, जो पैरेलल कम्बिनेशन ऑफ रेजिस्टर्स है उनका इक्विवेलेंट रेजिस्टेंस अगर हम लोग R मान लेते हैं तो इन दैट केस by Ohm's law, I is equal to V by R. I is the main current from the battery, V is the potential difference, and R is the equivalent resistance. So, Ohm's law, we know that V is equal to IR. That means we can write, which implies I is equal to V by R. So, using this Ohm's law, we can find out the current, which will be equal to V. V is the potential difference between the points A and B, and capital R represents the equivalent resistance of the parallel combination of resistors. Now, current in R1, in resistance R1, same by Ohm's law, we can find out the current through the three resistors separately. Through R1, I1 current is flowing, but the potential difference V will be same through all the three resistors. So what will be the formula to find out the current? I1 will be equal to V by R1, I2 will be equal to V by R2, and I3 will be equal to V by R3. So this way we are able to find out the values of the three currents I1, I2 and I3. Now we know that the main current I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. So we can put the values of the three currents as V by R, V by R. For I we can write V by R, for I1 we can write V by R1, and for I2 we can write V by R2, for I3 we can write V by R3. So putting the values, what we will get? This equation, and we know that the potential difference across the parallel circuit is same, so the V will get cancelled, and finally what we will get? We will get 1 by R is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. So we can say that in the parallel combination, the reciprocal of the equivalent resistance is equal to the sum of reciprocals of the individual resistance. That is, if R represents the equivalent resistance, then reciprocal of R, that is 1 by R, is equal to the sum of reciprocal of the three resistors R1, R2 and R3, like this. That is, 1 by R represents reciprocal of equivalent resistance. R1 represents 1 by R1 represents reciprocal of resistor R1. R2 represents reciprocal of 1 by R2 represents reciprocal of resistor R2, and 1 by R3 represents reciprocal of resistance R3. So in the parallel combination of resistors, the reciprocal of the equivalent resistance is equal to the sum of the reciprocals of the individual resistance. So children, that's all for today. Hope you are able to understand parallel combination of resistors. Thank you.